This is the headquarters of Vitkovice Machinery in the Ostrava region of the Czech Republic. What's unique about the place is that it runs the largest vocational institution in the country and was specifically established to meet the manpower requirements of the company. Vitkovice also helps train the workforce of other outfits. The success of the 185-year-old institution has continued to attract attention around the world. Nigeria's Minister of State for Education, Nyesom Wike, is at the institution to explore areas that can benefit the country's technical and vocational education sector.
95% of those students from those vocational schools are employed by the company, and that is something we should emulate. They're not just establishing the vocational schools, but attaching them to companies that have relevance, so that at the end of the day, these students will be employed by these companies.
Wike's visit was made possible by the country's ambassador to Prague, Qatar, who was impressed by the depth of science and technology in the Czech Republic.
What I am passionate about, give skills to the burgeoning youth population in Nigeria. We have a crisis of young people who are not fully engaged. That was what informed my personal letter to the Honourable Minister when I got here, that anybody who loves Nigeria would be concerned about the idleness of our young people.
Vitkovice offers training in a number of fields: engineering, building, electrical and metalworks, among others. Training is both theoretical and practical, but emphasis is more on practical training, where students are exposed firsthand to the workplace by highly experienced instructors. Apart from seeking partnership, the Nigerian team came with a blueprint of what the country's vocational education sector requires.
Part of the reasons why we're here is to see how we can benefit from your technical programs like advocacy, career and guidance counseling, funding, and how we can sustain the program.
Let us think over about the type of the school which we are going to introduce today, and if it is similar what we are looking for, so after we can discuss how to organize this training in Nigeria. Because I fully agree with Your Excellency that the training should be done in Nigeria and not in Czech Republic.
With any other doubts put to rest, what's left is for both parties to further deliberate on the implementation process of the collaboration and the promotion of vocational and technical education. Ezenwo Nyesom, AIT News, Prague, Czech Republic. Nigeria's mission in the Czech Republic might be less than a year old, but it has certainly made a lot of strides in strengthening and exploring the advantages that abound in the bilateral ties between Prague and Abuja. One key area that's already yielding results is the education sector. On a trip facilitated by the country's ambassador, Nigeria's Minister of State for Education, Nyesom Wike, was in the Czech Republic to further deepen bilateral cooperation in the field of academics. Meeting with his Czech counterpart, Peter Fiala, Nyesom Wike had 3 requests to make. The first was more scholarships for Nigerian students.
Nigeria has a population of about 170 million. What we normally get from the Czech Republic is 2. We believe that with a population of 170 million and 2, well, it's not, it's okay, it's based on the how you can fund it, but we believe that if we can increase the number, that will be quite encouraging.
Nigeria is also seeking a framework whereby the two countries will cooperate in the field of science and teacher exchange.
We also want an exchange program of sabbatical leaves where some of the science teachers and professors can come to Nigerian universities for sabbatical leave. That will encourage us, that will help us to improve our bilateral relationship.
The response from the Czech government was quite positive. Peter Fiala says his country is willing to cooperate with Nigeria in all endeavors.
Secondary schools in the Czech Republic are ready to start to discuss the possibility to cooperate with Nigeria and probably sign also some agreements among cooperation between university in the Czech Republic and university in Nigeria. Speaking about international relations from the point of the ministry, it's It's welcomed, we support it.
Nyesom Wike also took the opportunity to sell Nigeria's tourism and economic potentials as Africa's largest market. Ezenwo Nyesom, AIT News, Prague, Czech Republic. It was meant to be a small dinner at the Nigerian embassy in Prague to welcome Nyesom Wike. And unlike the usual small talk, food, drink and the exchange of cards, guests at this dinner came prepared to discuss and offer suggestions on a number of areas with particular focus on education.
More like a private appeal after a personal letter to him to come and explore the opportunities for technical education in this country. It was a very personal letter I wrote to him, and here he is, and I'm so thrilled that he saw sense in what I did and he decided to visit us.
There was, of course, the issue of partnership, which was one of the reasons the minister had come to Czech Republic.
That we are preparing a program Delta, which will be focused on the bilateral international cooperation with non-European countries. We would be very happy if Nigeria could join this program in mutual cooperation, in applied research, experimental development. But in this regard, we would need maybe some help from your side in order to find a suitable partner in your country to cooperate with. That is an agency funding applied research, experimental development and innovation. Or if this institution is not there, maybe to find the closest possible partner in your country.
What we're doing is, some of our boys who are dropped out of school, how do we bring them back to school? And in bringing them back to school, do we just allow them to have numeracy and the rest of it without equipping them for them to be on their own, assuming they don't want to further their education. And so it is important that in giving them basic education, we include vocational and technical training. And from our discussion with the ambassador, we think that we can partner very well with the Czech Republic in this area.
Recognizing the presence of the Czech business community, Nyesom Wike was quick to assure the international community of adequate security in Nigeria.
This thing happens even in advanced countries. And so the insecurity, what you may hear today in Nigeria, it's just in a particular area, not Nigeria as a whole. So Nigeria is safe for people to come and invest. And what I'm trying to say that it is not because something happened in a particular part of the country, therefore the entire country is unsafe. That's not correct. Anybody who has come to the Niger Delta will know that where you have the oil, companies are still operating very well.
The minister also took time out to meet with some Nigerians living in the Czech Republic. Ezenwo Nyesom, AIT News, Prague, Czech Republic. They are bound together by a common problem: the unenviable tag of being countries with high populations of out-of-school children who may not meet the 2015 target of achieving education for all ever.
And I want to say to you today that despite everything that you are doing, we still face an education emergency. We are nearly 1,000 days away from the deadline for achieving the Millennium Development Goal.
The UNESCO Education for All EFL Global Monitoring Report shows that with the current trend, the goal of universal primary education will be missed by a large margin. The number of out-of-school children has fallen from 108 million to 61 million since 1999. However, 3/4 of this reduction was achieved between 1999 and 2004. Between 2008 and 2010, progress was stalled altogether. The challenge of universal primary education is to get children into school at the correct age and to ensure their progress through the system and complete the education cycle. Sub-Saharan Africa accounts for 31 million out-of-school children. Statistics further show that of the 61 million children out of school since 2010, 47% are expected to never enter school. 26% have attended but left school, and the remaining 27% are expected to enter school in the future. Sadly too, girls account for more than half of primary school-aged children out of school. They also face the greatest barriers.
For many girls in particular, the lack and denial of education is a civil rights struggle. It is girls being denied education because they're being discriminated against. It is girls being forced into child labor or into child marriage. It is girls being trafficked in different parts of the world, and we have a moral obligation to support them.
Of importance to Her Highness too has to do with girl child education. She quite appreciated the efforts of Nigeria making sure that girls are given access to basic education, because, like it is said, educating a child, you're educating a whole society.
Realizing the magnitude of the problem they have, nations with out-of-school children are adopting new measures to tackle their predicament. Leading the effort is Sheikha Moza, wife of the Emir of Qatar, whose Educate a Child initiative is giving out-of-school children the opportunity to access quality education, escape poverty, improve health, and enhance their opportunities in life. The Educate a Child initiative has succeeded in providing quality schooling for 600,000 children over a period of just 4 months, and it aims to reach 10 million children by the end of 2015. With high level of support from UNESCO and the likes of former British Prime Minister and now UN Special Envoy on Global Education, Gordon Brown, the initiative has helped sponsor a high-level strategic meeting to accelerate efforts to reduce the number of out-of-school children across the globe by 2015 and beyond.
We can achieve to be the first generation in history where every child is at school. Instead of developing only some of the talents of some of our children, we could be the first generation that develops all of the talents of all of our children. That is the task, and that is the opportunity, and that could be our achievement.
The year 2015 is the most significant for the international community, especially for countries like Nigeria that adopted the World Declaration on Education for All in Jomtien, Thailand in 1990. The vision of Jomtien was simple but powerful. Every person, child, youth and adults should be able to benefit from education opportunities designed to meet their basic learning needs. With 10.5 million out-of-school children, Nigeria risks failure in living up to the pledge it made over 2 decades ago.
We can meet the targets once there is the will. It's not a matter of resources, financial resources, human resources. Primarily, it is the will.
Nigeria's Minister of State for Education, Nyesom Wike, says the government has demonstrated commitment by budgeting over 400 billion naira for the sector in 2013, the highest in the country's 53-year history.
The federal government has entered into a memorandum with the state government by building special schools for these children. Not only building special schools, the government will make sure that their fees will be free. Government will be providing food for them as a form of incentive that will lure them out of the streets and be in school. Government will go to buy uniforms free for them. That's the way of encouraging them, not putting up a heavy burden on their parents. And then also, in terms of girl child education, government is doing a lot of advocacy, telling our parents that there is the need for our children to go, for our girls to go to school. These early marriages do not help.
Some of the turnaround measures embarked on by the Jonathan administration include the free compulsory basic education program, Almajiri and girl child education program, as well as the back to school program. Others are the nomadic and fisher folk education program, the street to school program for school dropouts through vocational skills and basic educational training, increased enrollment of out of school children, increase in gender parity, and improve retention and completion rate.
There must be very strong political will. We also need to continuously mount very aggressive sensitization campaigns, awareness creation on the need for these children to be in school.
This may show the resolve of the Nigerian government to develop its human capital. But with the enormity of this tax and the competing demand from other sectors of the economy, government says it can't do it alone.
Support may not just necessarily be the cash backed of support. Support may be by training, developing the curriculum. Support may be by training of the teachers who will be training these children. Support may also be in terms of capital. We have requested that we can get support in terms of improving our infrastructure, and also we requested support for capacity training. So we believe that either of them, Nigeria is going to get support in either of those areas.
The clock is ticking fast. Nigeria and other countries still with millions of children out of school have 2.5 years to meet the 2015 pledge of achieving education for all and turn the fortunes of their collective future around. Edegbo Biakame, AIT News.